Hi, it is Linda Lang here from Thought Change. I wanted to say hello to you today. First of all, we're coming up to Easter weekend, and I wanted to make sure that you had a fantastic energy base for Easter. Quite often people get together with families and friends, and that can be a little bit trying at times for sure. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the power of our emotions and relationships and how they go together. Emotions, I'm sure you've probably heard it described as energy in motion. They're meant to be felt fully and released, and they can create a little bit of a challenge in our energy system when we don't feel them fully, when we suppress them or bury them or pretend that they're not there. Candace Pert wrote a book called The Molecules of Emotion, and I have a little quote I'd like to read about it. She's a neurobiologist, and her research really had some profound impact on how we understand emotions and the effect that emotions have on us. So this is the quote I'm reading to you today. My research has shown me that when emotions are expressed, which is to say that the biochemicals that are the substrate of the emotion are flowing freely, all systems are united and made whole. When emotions are repressed, denied, not allowed to be whatever they may be, our network pathways get blocked, stopping the flow of the vital, feel-good, unifying chemicals that run both our biology and behavior. So what this means is they get trapped and they create issues. They can create physical issues, emotional issues, thinking patterns can get stuck, behavior patterns. It's incredible the power of emotions. So I'll give you an example of a dear sweet lady that I worked on who was really struggling with pain from her hips. She was waiting for a double hip replacement, and it was because she had unresolved grief from the death of her only child 15 years earlier. He was an adult. He was a fireman, but he drowned saving someone. It's something she just never got over and stored those emotions in her pelvic girdle. Once we could release them, she didn't need the hip replacements anymore. She wasn't in pain anymore. Her movements were freer. So it's really incredible the effect that emotions can have on us. And if you look at our relationships, they're really a big trigger for our emotional state. Our relationships can bring us great joy and happiness and incredible love, a sense of belonging, or we can feel angry and frustrated or sad and lonely, betrayed or abandoned, guilt or shame. There's such a variety of emotions that we get to feel through our relationships, and there probably isn't a relationship that's always one emotion because we wave through different cycles. And that's how things can get stuck, especially, when we look at our most important relationships growing up, our mother, our father, and our siblings. How many times have we had a fight with our brother or sister or been upset at our mother or father? Even if they were generally really good relationships, some of those emotions can get really stuck. I remember actually really having a tangible experience of digging up an old emotion. I was teaching an EFT class to a small group of people, and I needed something to tap on. So I just picked a memory from my youth that I didn't think twice about. And it was a time when I had done the dishes, and it was just after my birthday, and my birthday cake was right beside the dirty dishes in a plastic cake keeper. And I was not really thinking, and I put the cake keeper in the dish water, and there was my birthday cake ruined. And I mean, I didn't even think twice about it. And here I was tapping as an adult, and all this emotion came up as if I was experiencing it. That's the power of our unconscious mind, because it remembers things in the present. Even all the things in the past feel like the present until we can actually clear it and let it go and release those emotions. So I know firsthand the power of doing clearing work. I don't really use a lot of tapping anymore unless intuitively that's what someone's system uses, because I found some techniques that work a lot faster and not as much digging. But definitely it is something I focus on in my business, is helping to guide people to let go of these old emotions that keep them stuck, even if they don't know they have it. I can guarantee you that there's been a time in your life where you were angry at your mom, or sad, or afraid, or had some kind of guilt. We all do it in most of our relationships. We have a wide variety of emotions that we kind of filter through and go through, and hopefully we end up on the good side. When it ends up happening, actually, is if we're carrying a lot of emotional baggage, it actually becomes a weight, and we start to respond from those old patterns of emotions. So if you're holding on to a lot of anger and you're experiencing something in your life that's maybe a really small, minute thing, when it ends up happening is you overreact and you have a real anger outburst that's maybe not warranted for the situation. And when you're doing that, it's because you've activated old anger. So this is one of the reasons why I'm going to be offering the Clear Connection series of healings starting next week. Mostly I'm offering it because it came as a message, and it's been on my plate, and the messages keep coming. Michelle and I are doing our podcast this week. We've actually recorded it, and we'll be publishing it tomorrow. Even though it's Good Friday, you'll have an opportunity to listen to it anytime you like. But it's just amazing, the messages that I kept getting saying, it's time, it's time, it's time. Even yesterday, I was listening to an astrology reading I had done by one of our new members, Tree Child, and I had talked to her back in January about when's a good time to do this series. And it's so funny because I hadn't given it a thought. And here yesterday I listened to it, and she actually said that it would be good through Mercury Retrograde, because in my birth chart, Mercury was retrograde when I was born. And so it is a really pivotal time where I can get quite clear guidance and psychic messages. So it would be quite beneficial for those people in the course. So it's kind of fun. And here we are starting on Tuesday. I hope you'll have a chance to listen to that podcast once it's published. I'll definitely post it. It's such a fun conversation. I think it was my most fun conversation that I've had with Michelle so far. Anyways, I think that's it for today. I hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you have a fantastic weekend, that any time you spend with your family and your friends is rich and rewarding and just brings you delight. That's my wish for you this week, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.